Now that Shedeur has gotten drafted, last video we talked about how I think the NCAA and NFL use Shedeur, Ewers, Will Howard, and some other athletes as examples of what NIL could do and what having brand deals can do before you enter the NFL to your draft stock, right? And that's just my theory, my conspiracy theory with that. Go ahead and watch that video. It's a pretty good video. In this video, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the NFL in particular, because they are this close to have an investigation on them because it's starting to become real weird about Shador Sanders, man. It's becoming really weird because now there's a report every day coming out about how this GM and this GM or this owner saying we were told to take him off the our draft boards. The only thing missing that will link all this together to be a concerted effort against one person would be other GM and owners or other owners said, hey, don't you be the team to draft this kid. Or, hey, we were all told we were not to touch him until after the 4th round. Because if something like that leaks out, then an investigation needs to be had. Outside of that, cool. You can be an owner and GM and not want a certain player on your team. You're allowed to do that. But when you make a concerted effort and you're like, hey, don't you dare, any of these teams, draft this kid until after the 4th round, or any of the Colorado players outside of Travis Hunter before this certain round, that's an issue. That's an issue. Do I think that's what happened? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not really too focused on that, but I do think they're very close because every single thing, all these anonymous GM tips and stuff, is starting to pile up and it's starting to not look good for the NFL. Luckily, Shedeur is drafted, so that's cool. But now the pressure is on the Browns because this is why the Browns are such a dysfunctional organization and why they lose year in and year out and why they're going to continue to do that unless they give Shedeur Sanders an actual chance and probably build around him. Hear me out. And Cleveland fans, I really welcome your opinions in the comment section. Like, you guys are some of the most loyal fan bases outside of Detroit, and I'm really curious about your opinion on all of this. Because my opinion, I'm not a Browns fan. My opinion really doesn't really matter too much. I really want to hear from the fan base. So here we go. I do think that Cleveland fumbled because if you were going to draft Shedeur anyway, you could have gotten Travis Hunter at pick 2 and then gotten Shedeur in round 2. You could have done that, or you could have traded up, whatever. But here's the thing. The only way you don't do that is if there was a mandate to not pick Shedeur outside of a certain round. Because it's just too random. It's too coincidental and random that he got picked round 5, and as soon as he got picked, there was all of this promo that pushed as soon. Some of the top liked posts on NFL and on the Cleveland Browns Instagram pages is of Shedeur Sanders. In fact, and I could be wrong about this, I think Cleveland just made a post about Dylan Gabriel. Like a real post about Dylan Gabriel outside of them drafting him. Why? Because clearly they had promo to push Shedeur Sanders. Clearly, if they were not going to take Travis number 2, they were going to take Shedeur at number 2, or at least in round 2, round 3. They were going to take him way earlier than round 5. Because I'm sorry, there's no way you just spit out this much. I mean, there is so much promotional material for Shedeur Sanders. And I used to be a social media manager. I know how that pipeline works. Now, you don't make all that if you don't have him in your plans at all. Now, you could hit your people up and be like, hey, tomorrow we plan on drafting Shedeur Sanders. Prepare some, if he falls to us, prepare some promotional material for him. But the thing is, Shedeur is not just any player. He's one that, outside of Travis Hunter and Cam Ward, he is one of the most hyped players with one of the biggest, if not the biggest fan base, one of the biggest fan bases is of Shedeur Sanders. Matter of fact, I'm going to go on a limb. He has the biggest fan base. Shedeur has the biggest fan base, and he probably makes the most money out of everyone in that draft. I could be wrong about that. Maybe Cam Ward does make more. I don't know. like pre-NFL contract. But either way, he is up there. And so you don't make you make all that promo material. It tells me that he was supposed to be picked, right? Delta had an ad for him. Like, there's so many organizations that had ads for him. He was meant to go higher than round 5. Clearly, something happened. Now, we don't know what happened privately, and I don't think teams are willing to put that out there, because I do think it won't help them as much as they think it would to release draft audio and footage, if there even is any, because then you would have to for every single player. And remember, the NFL got in trouble because players started being like, they're starting to ask these really weird questions. And it did that for decades. The NFL was doing that for decades. They asked these really weird ass questions. If I'm not mistaken, I think they started asking, they asked players, are you gay? Are you, they started asking some really personal questions that had nothing to do with football, nothing to do with whatever they're supposed to be asking these kids. They were not asking them. They're asking them some weird, invasive questions and all this kind of personal stuff. And someone called them out on it finally. And then the investigators had to listen into some of this audio. If I could be wrong about this, but if I'm not mistaken, that's what happened. And then they had to go change the questions and all that other shit. So the NFL has been known to ask some really weird questions and really provoke some of these athletes. And so I don't really trust the NFL as much as many other people blindly. But let's be honest, Shedeur has a lot of confidence, and privately he could have went there arrogant, thinking I'm a first round draft pick. My dad's who my dad is, and blah blah. He could have went there and fumbled it. But I just refuse to believe he went there and fumbled it so bad that he went from round 1 or round 2 to round 5. That's just too much of a drop. That's too much of the drop. I'm sorry, Mel Kiper stood on business all weekend long. People can be pissed off as you want, but Mel Kiper's known for one thing, and I think he's pretty good at that one thing. And so, basically, the NFL shat all over his expertise, made him look crazy. So he's capping for Shedeur, but also capping for himself. I know I'm not crazy. He got that drop. He made that mock draft. He got those rankings based off of some type of inside information. Come on now. So, tying this all back to Cleveland. Cleveland, you have a mess on your hands. You have 5 quarterbacks in your room that are not going to be there when the season starts. You have an immense amount of pressure on all 4. The only person that has no pressure right now is Shedeur Sanders. Because at the end of the day, his fans are going to ride for him regardless, and he's going to have probably the most jersey sales outside Myles Garrett for that team, maybe even more at this point. They also don't want to go through the NFL shop anymore. They want to go through his personal store and buy his personal merch, because they don't like you. They don't trust you. They don't like Cleveland. They don't trust Cleveland. They don't trust the NFL. Your GM and your head coach looked miserable drafting him. That's also very weird. I talked about that in the previous video. That's also going to affect and put pressure on the rest of your quarterbacks and the rest of your team. And speaking of team, the teammates in Cleveland privately, because I talked to Dylan Gabriel, publicly, they are showing support for Shador Sanders. Your star tight end, support for Shador Sanders. Your star cornerback, support for Shador Sanders. And many more pouring in. He was at his draft party, not the one on night 1, but the one after he finally got drafted. CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott were at his party. Shedeur has gravitas. Shedeur has support from athletes all over the NFL. Like I said in the previous video, that watch celebration, athletes in the NFL were copying that celebration because they thought it was so cold. They have tremendous respect for Dion. There's soccer players in the English Premier League who were doing that celebration. Shedeur is bigger than what y'all think he is in terms of just popularity. He's a celebrity. He is already. He is already famous. His on the field play, clearly everything that's coming out from these GMs, there's only one GM that was salty and said he's not that good. Bullshit. Shedeur's play on the field did not factor into him sliding at all, from round 1 to 5 at all. And if you say that, you're being fugazi. Again, I'm not saying he didn't deserve to go second, third round, round five, 144th pick is insane, bro. So they always talk about this kid's ego. That's something I also want to get to. They always talk about this kid's ego, at least publicly. I don't know about privately. Again, I was in those rooms. I can't speak on that. All I can speak on is the stuff we all can research and see ourselves publicly. Shedeur basically said, not even basically, he literally said, hey, I am someone who's used to going to shitty situations and turn them around into winning organizations. I do that everywhere I go. So if you're not trying to turn your organization around for the better and start winning and become relevant, then do not draft me. And 32 teams said, or 31 teams said bet. 32 teams said bet for 5 rounds. Then one had some common sense because their fan base, I mean, Saints are real stupid. But besides that, that's what he said. He said, hey, I'm not going to throw the combine. I'm going to throw at my private workout, at my university, throw into my receivers who are also in this draft, who also got drafted, by the way. One to the Ravens, one to Carolina, and one a walk-on, I think, to Tampa Bay with Shiloh, actually, I think. And then a couple other D linemen and stuff went to Jacksonville, all kinds of other stuff. So, hey, as a matter of fact, I want to say that Colorado, if I'm not mistaken, had the most wide receivers drafted in this draft. So shout out to Dion, because that means, hey, you go to Colorado, you can get drafted. Shedor's an outlier. You can get drafted. We had our star player win the Heisman and go number 2. We had basically our entire receiving core get drafted. Come to Colorado. So I started to say, like, there's always this attack on Shedor's ego. There's all these guys, all these talking heads who are also black and go say, oh, I'm tired of black people saying race. Other black guys going on the internet saying, I'm tired of black people making this about race. Brother, unfortunately, we're in America. A lot of things are about race. But outside of that, how dare you focus and only attack Shedeur Sanders for his ego? What about the Cleveland Browns or the other 31 teams who have tremendous ego? The brother said, hey, look at what Jacksonville was before I got there. Look at what Colorado was before I got there. Look at how it is when I got there and after I left. I can do that for your team. I'm willing to do that for your team. He's saying, I don't care how shitty your team is, how dysfunctional. I've went to worse and I've left it better than when I got there. I could do the same for you. If you draft me, just be prepared for change. That's what he said. Be prepared for a winner. Be prepared for someone who can grind it out. Be prepared for someone who is in it to win it with you if you take a chance on me. And those 32 teams said no for 5 rounds. That's what happened. That's ego. The Browns have tremendous ego, and they have failed every single time. Their ego has gotten in the way of them, and no one ever blames them for that. And that's why that franchise is poverty every single time. They needed a quarterback. What they do, give Deshaun Watson one of the most bogus contracts I've ever seen in my life. And that's not even hindsight. At the time, the dude had major injuries, had a case, was suspended. They got a Deshaun Watson based off of what at that time would be 2 years ago of football. They never got it. So I guarantee that guarantee contract is ridiculous. It will fuck up their franchise for the foreseeable future. The Browns had an opportunity to right this ship last weekend. They got Travis Hunter number 2 and got his quarterback in round 2 or round 3 and refused to do it because of whatever draft interview he gave them. Cleveland Browns, another city, Cleveland Browns, you are a losing organization. You have losers. I'm telling you this. I'm telling you, you're in a division where every single opponent in your division spanks you and makes you look stupid over and over and over again. Lamar Jackson makes you look dumb. Joe Burrow makes you look silly. Cleveland could dead ass start Mason Rudolph next season, and they'll win at least one game off of you. Because you're going to trot out. Your plan was to trot out 40-year-old Joe Flacco like he's LeBron. That's what your plan was, and it's sickening. Deshaun Watson re-injured himself. He's not going to play until 2 years from now, realistically. He's not playing this year. He's not going to play till not 2 years, but late next year. So not this season, next season. That's 2 seasons. What are we doing? Yes, you paid him money. Go get yourself a quarterback, man. And Dylan Gabriel was not the fucking answer. That's ego. You traded Jacksonville because you think next year is going to be a quarterback heavy draft. Who cares? Those players have not done anything compared to some of the players in the quarterbacks in this draft. You had Ewers, did nothing with him. He's in Miami. I hope he gets an opportunity to at least be a backup, learn under Tua, and go somewhere he's going to be more appreciated and get started. Because I'm really high on Ewers. I know he has a lot of intangibles. Ewers has a lot of faults that I think will definitely eat him alive in the NFL. But since he doesn't have to start day one, I'm really hoping he can learn. He's willing to learn and really willing to put the work in. Because I think he is a project quarterback that does have a lot of potential. Dylan Gabriel, no. And again, and I'm not even doing this. Like, I know a lot of you going to type in, like, Cleveland. No. The Browns and what they have pushed for Shedeur since he got drafted tells me they care more about him than any other draft pick they have. I'm sorry. Even the first draft pick does not have the pull Shedeur. Like, they are advertising the shit out of Shedeur Sanders right now. And I'm telling you right now, if they actually give him a fair shot, he's going to beat out every single quarterback in that room. There's a good opportunity he is the best quarterback that they have. Because Deshaun Watson, even if he was fully healthy, does not give you much. Joe Flacco, sure, experience. He's not the future. Get him out of there. He's a vet. You're not making a playoff push with Joe Flacco. You're not. And at some point, you need to give your quarterbacks a fucking shot. And instead of getting a once in a generational talent and receiver and corner to pair with Ward and Jerry Jeudy and Travis Hunter, and then getting Travis's quarterback and having that and trotting that out there in the AFC North, instead of doing that, your ego and stupidity told you to go do what you did. To go in the draft class and to waste 2 picks on 2 quarterbacks is insane. It has nothing against their first round pick who's going to feast on the D line with Myles Garrett. He's going to feast, and he's a damn good player. And I'm happy they got him. But Travis Hunter is generational. And you had him. And you had Shedeur. You could have done the impossible. And you fumbled. And who knows, Shedeur could not pan out. But that man has so much confidence and swagger in himself. And he has literally went every single place and left it better than it was before he got there. That there's no reason on tape to say he cannot do the same for your franchise. And I'm telling you right now, Cleveland faithful, you need to hold your organization to the highest standards and tell your GM and coach to chin the fuck up, respect Shedeur Sanders, since they did him dirty. Since they want to do him dirty and they drafted him anyway, they need to put some respect on his name, because whatever they did with that video call was nasty bullshit. They need to give him a fair shot like they will Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett and all them boys, and let's go. Because this is kind of shit. These are the kind of moments that make organizations poverty franchises. Archie Manning can be a once-in-a-lifetime quarterback. He has not done enough to tank a whole year for no reason and have a quarterback room of 5 quarterbacks to tank for him. He hasn't done enough. You know why? Because the other quarterback who was starting before him was also in the draft and got taken in the 7th round, I think. Nasty work. I hate incompetence. I hate incompetence more than anything else. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Please tell me your thoughts down below. I really love hearing from all y'all. Even if we don't agree, it's really cool to hear your perspective because you come up with things that I didn't come up with. And it's always cool to hear from y'all. Peace.